Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He is 34 years old. He is divorced. He was married in his 20s for a couple of years, and that turned out very badly. And recently, he kicked his girlfriend to the curb. And he's writing in asking both my advice and you guys if he made a mistake. Why is he asking this question? Because you're going to see the reason he kicked her to the curb is that she had a best friend that's in an open marriage. And also his girlfriend is okay with open relationships, that type of thing. And given what he's learned on this channel, as well as other channels and his past experience, he's learned what happens when a gal's friends do things or have lifestyles that don't exactly end well for the guy. And of course, support those lifestyles. And as you can probably imagine by him kicking her to the curb because of this, everybody he knows, and I do mean everybody, is coming after him saying he's an a-hole, all these nasty things, he made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. So he's starting to second guess. And also you're going to see that his first marriage, he got married way too young, and it ended very badly. And so obviously he's wised up about girls and who they hang out with and things like that, irreconcilable differences, blah, blah, blah. And he wants my opinion, your opinion. So we're going to have a lot of audience participation today. At the end of the story, I'm going to need your help to write in and let this guy know he didn't make a mistake, because I don't want him to make the mistake of feeling bad down the road and giving her another chance, which will then give her all the power and leverage and all that. So there's definitely a good one here about open marriage, open relationships, and backs up everything I talk about in this channel. So, starts off, he says, hello SSM. I've been watching your channel for a little more than a year now, and even now, some of your stories you share are shocking to me. I'm not shocked anymore. I am so numb. There is pretty much nothing that will shock me in this world at this point. I guess it's mostly because I want to see the best in people. But sadly, reality doesn't care about hopes and dreams. Recently, I went through a situation that might make an interesting story for your channel, but maybe not. I'll leave that up to you. But I don't think I've seen a similar story, so why not? Bro, trust me, your story qualifies. It's interesting. One of the messages I hear you repeat often is to pay attention to the friends your girl hangs out with, and the old birds of a feather flock together comes to mind. Unfortunately, I found out the hard way when I was 26 years old. I've been married for 2 years and had been with my ex for 5 years when I got run through the ringer in the divorce court. You got married at 24 years old? Smack! What the hell were you thinking, bro? Too young. What the hell do you know about life at 24 years old? And obviously you were engaged before that. Really, what was the rush? Now, I get it, you were younger. That was the past you. You've wised up since. But if anybody watching this right now, if you're going to get married and you do it in your 20s, you're out of your freaking mind. Okay, if you do it at 29, maybe that's one thing, and be well prepared. But 24, with the level or lack of maturity there is nowadays, nobody's ready. How do you know your girl that well by then? And obviously she's around that age too. And you're going to see he didn't know her that well and wasn't ready. I've been married for about 2 years and been with my ex for 5 years when I got run through the ringer in divorce court. I'm still not sure if she was cheating on me, but it doesn't really matter anymore. Our life was going great, at least the life I thought we had. How many guys say that? Everything was great. We had a wonderful relationship, and boom. Apparently not. It all started to fall apart when one of her two best friends got a divorce from her husband of 3 years and it spread like a cancer to my ex and the other friend. Within a year of her friend's divorce, both her and other friend and my wife had filed for divorce. They got a freaking hive mind. They're all sheep. Amazing. All of them. One got divorced and the next one now your girl. That young. Why the hell did they get married? I'll tell you why. They wanted that ring, they wanted that ceremony, they wanted that magical day. And the idea of like, oh, well, he's my first husband. See, guys, this is why you don't rush into marriage. It wasn't a big shock to me at the time because as soon as her friend that got divorced first started living her single life, going to the clubs, etc., my ex and their other friends started going with her. That's when you should have laid down the law and said, oh, no. We're married now. You're a wife. You're not doing this stuff. Not the single life anymore, going to clubs and all that type of... No. But the odds are it wouldn't matter, and he'd be speaking... He'd have a better response talking to a wall at that point. It was over. They were all behaving like they were single, and that started causing a lot of fights in my own marriage. It was about 7 months after the first friend filed that my wife sat me down and said she wanted a divorce. When I asked her why, the only reason she gave me was that she felt like I was holding her back from living the life, and of course the "I love you, but I'm not in love with you" speech. Holding her back? What, holding her back from getting some sausage? And I'm willing to bet you it was probably her that wanted to get married in the first place. It was probably her dropping all the hints about the ring. I'm willing to bet you that. Holding her back. So I'm Gomorrah 2.0, guys. I guess the only thing I got to take from my marriage was my self-respect because I didn't beg her to stay. Well, good for you. But the courts took my house and most of my money and gave it to her. Thankfully, we didn't have any kids. There you go, gentlemen. 2 years he's married to her, and he was on the right track in terms of money. Had his own house, had some money put away, 26 years old, that's great. And guess who got it? Remember that. That all happened 8 years ago. I'm 34 years old now and had recently, as of January, broken up with my girlfriend of 3.5 years. After my divorce, I stayed away from relationships for a few years, and when the alimony stopped, I started putting my life back together. When I did get back out on the dating scene, the first thing I looked in a potential girlfriend was her friends, and if there were any behaviors that I didn't like. I ended things and moved on. I've learned enough to know that I'll never be able to change the character of another person, and these days I'm not interested in trying. Good. That's a very important thing to take away, guys. You cannot change people, and that's the problem that a lot of these guys are white knights don't get. The white knights think they see the damaged girl who's had bad boyfriends, bad experience, bad past, and they think, I can change her. If I'm so loving to her and so giving to her and I'm such a nice guy that she'll just fall in love with me and blah, blah, blah. And you know what happens to those guys. And it's the same thing with the girls that find the bad boy, the damaged guy, and they think they can fix them, and you know what I mean. Doesn't work. Both sides. Says the people, they're going to be who they are, and I'll never sacrifice my own sanity to make another woman happy ever again. This is where the problem starts. Everyone in my life, without exception, are all telling me that I'm a bastard, insecure, piece of crap, etc. for breaking up with my now ex-girlfriend for the reason I did. Of course everyone's saying that because everybody else pretty much does what everybody else does. Most people in this world are sheep. And God forbid a man does what's best for him. It's okay that a woman does what's best for her. We all know this. But if a guy does what's best for him, then he's the root of all evil. He says, I met Sonia, a 31-year-old gal, when I was 31, and she was 28. It was one of my friends at work, Dan, that introduced me to her. She was friends with his wife, Alice, and they've been for years. I'm not exactly certain how long they've been friends, but Sonia had mentioned they were in high school together, so it was a while. In any case, they did everything together. So they're BFFs. And remember, BFFs always know what's going on with the other BFF, because girls can't keep secrets. Let's remember this for later on in the story. From hobbies to the style of clothes they picked out, it was almost obsessive. That was something I noticed early in our relationship, but most of the things they had in common, and they were harmless, so I didn't really care. Sonia was always good to me, even up to the point that I broke up with her, so part of me accepts how harsh everyone has been towards me for ending our relationship. And I can admit that I might have overreacted, but what's done is done. Well, I can clearly see, and guys listening to this can see you're having doubts. And I will be saying what I have to say at the end of the story to help make you understand that what you did was the right thing. And by the way, you said how you couldn't think of any problems. She was always good to you. Remember your marriage, right? You thought everything was great, no problems, and like that. Keep that in mind. Honestly, it was the best relationship I'd ever been in. And I'll probably regret what I did, but my gut and all the RP content I've watched over the years are telling me that I saved myself a lot of future pain. Time will tell, I guess. Trust your gut. I met Dan and Alice early in our relationship and became pretty good friends with them as a couple. I'd known Dan from work for about 2 years, but we never did anything outside of work together. That changed when I started dating Sonia. Within a year dating her, almost all of our recreational time was spent with them, going out and doing things, and we were all having a lot of fun. Okay. So far, so good. Sounds like a good time. You're couple friends. Dan is a good guy, but I've always thought he was a bit too passive. Uh-oh. Guys that are passive are walked over by aggressive women. That's what happens. Or assertive women. Those types of guys are usually pee-whipped. It became clear from the beginning that Alice was the one who usually drove the relationship, but he seemed happy. That was one of the things that Sonia had to get used to about me. I didn't mind going out to do things, and she and Alice wanted to do, but I also kept up with my own friends and hobbies. Good. You learn. You have your own life outside your girlfriend. Dan, clearly, his whole life was wrapped around Alice at the time. That was one of the mistakes I made in my first marriage. I gave up everything to make my wife happy, and all I got in return was a few years of paying her alimony and lost my house. Right there, guys. It took a long time to rebuild my friendships and finances, so those are two things I'm uncompromising with these days. Good, and never compromise. Sonia and I were at the stage of our relationship when we starting to talk about the future and potential marriage, and while still a bit hesitant, I was willing to talk about it. Smack! Are you telling me after what you went through in your 20s, where after 2 years you lost your house and paid all that money for years, the money you had at that moment and alimony for years, and you're thinking about getting married again? Bro, guys all over the world, well, now you read that, are giving you smacks. Wherever you are in this world, let's hear in the comments section. If you gave a smack at that moment, I want to hear about it. No. You can do relationships, knock yourself out. Get married again? No. Yeah, you're freaking mine. So far, she hadn't exhibited any deal-breaking behaviors, but I wanted to wait for at least another year or two before making any decision one way or another. Even writing this out, I'm feeling like an idiot, and maybe I am, I just don't know. Don't start second-guessing yourself. It was in January that I started questioning my relationship, but it wasn't because of anything Sonia did recently. Normally, Dan was a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. He's one of those guys that wears his emotions on his sleeves so you can tell when he's happy or upset without saying a word. Normally, I don't interfere with other people and their problems. But I knew there was something bothering him when he came to work for about 2 weeks straight and always seemed to be in a bit of a bad mood or just sulking at his desk. Usually, Sonia and I would do something with Dan and Alice about once a week or over the weekend. But during those 2 weeks, he was in a very bad mood and we hadn't gone out with them. Well, clearly something's wrong. And gee, I wonder what's wrong with Dan. Sonia was still spending time with Alice, and I started to wonder if there was something going on in their marriage. I ended up cornering him at work over lunch, and when my curiosity got the best of me, and what he told me shocked me to the core. What could that be? I guess Alice convinced him to agree to an open marriage around the beginning of the year. And in his words, he wanted to make her happy, so he agreed. Smack to Dan. This is where the passive thing comes out. Guys that respect themselves aren't going to put up with this crap. But as you described, Dan is a passive guy, and passive guys tend to be bossed around, taken advantage of by very assertive women. Okay, she obviously ran the relationship, and we can go back and forth and speculate on the dynamics of the relationship, but the bottom line is this. They're married. She wants to open marriage. No woman that loves their guy is ever going to do that, period, because she doesn't want to be with any other guy, and no woman certainly wants to have her man with somebody else. So this tells me that she has lost all respect for him, lost all attraction to him, and wants to have her cake and eat it too. And she knows darn well, because he's passive and lets her run the relationship, and he's pee-whipped, let's call it for what it is, he ain't going anywhere and has nothing to worry about. That's what happens when women have too much certainty. That's why you relationship guys, you can't give your girl all this certainty. The whole, I'm with you, baby, no matter what. I'm always here for you, no matter what you do or what happened. No. That's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And right here, Dan should never have allowed that at all. But he wasn't strong enough. But he's like a lot of guys out there. Never should have allowed that. And remember, gentlemen, what's going on when the girl usually proposes this? One of two things. You all know. You can say it out loud right here. Either A, she's hooking up with somebody else, or B, she's planning on it. She already has one dude or multiple dudes in her sight that she's going to go have playtime with. When I asked him how he felt about it, he said he was miserable and hated it. Well, who could blame him? He asked me what I would do, and I told him I would never accept such a stupid idea, and I turned him on to your channel and told him to watch the videos you post on open marriages. He could spend all day watching those videos. There's so many of them. When I got home from work, I called Sonia, which was normal. We made plans to go out to eat, which was also normal. She met me at one of our favorite restaurants, and after we ordered our food, I asked her if she knew Dan and Alice opened up their marriage, and she said she did. What'd I tell you? Girls always know the other one's secrets. Guys, I've been enough relationships. Women can't keep secrets. You guys in relationships right now, been around the block, you know this. And I guarantee you guys, particularly you guys that been in a relationship for a while, your girlfriend's best friends, I guarantee you, at least one of them knows the size of your you-know-what. I guarantee you they know what you do in bed, how fast you are, how good you are, how bad you are. They know all the details. And if you think that I'm full of crap, okay, fine. So she obviously knew this is what was going on, what the girl wanted. This is not girlfriend material. Remember, he learned the first time what happened when he went with his ex-wife about the friends, how the friends can influence others, and that could be a concern. Her BF has an open relationship. How long is it going to be? Until she wants to do the same thing. When I asked her why she never told me, she said she thought Dan would have told me, and she didn't think it was a big deal. Red flag, gigantic red flag. There's red flags all over the freaking place in that statement, along with her friend doing this. For the first time in our entire relationship, I had a big red flag waving around and smacking me in the head. Damn right. She asked me what I thought about it, and I told her I wouldn't be spending any more time with either of them, and she seemed genuinely surprised by my answer. When she asked me why not, I told her that I thought the entire idea was disgusting, and I didn't want to be associated with people like that. As is your right. I wouldn't either. And we all know darn well what can happen with the influence of people like that. Because remember, people want others to hang out with the same lifestyles. It can then justify their own lifestyle. Then she said that I was being too judgmental, and if that kind of relationship worked for them, it was none of my business. Hang on, sweetie. I had a conversation with Dan earlier today who's quite miserable about the situation, so it's not working for them. I agreed with her and said I didn't care if that was how they wanted to live, but that I get to decide who I'll associate with. Correct. Doing what's best for you. We let the topic drop and had dinner, but I could tell she was in a bad mood. God forbid. Now, a typical nice guy would be like, oh no, she's mad. What do I do? I gotta kiss her butt. But a guy with any value, or a bad boy, would be like, so? She'll get over it. By the time I made it home, I made up my mind. Between her opinions on open relationships and how close she was to Alice, I suspected it was only a matter of time before the idea got dropped in my lap. I spent a few hours thinking about every possibility I could and called Sonia and told her I loved her, but we are too different on such a fundamental topic, and broke up with her. She was crying, and honestly, it broke my heart. But I just couldn't see trying to build a future with her, with a woman that has such a close relationship with a friend, doing something that was a deal breaker for me. Bro, your instincts were correct. I didn't want to hurt her because technically she hadn't done anything wrong. But I've already experienced how powerful women's friends' influence can be, and I wasn't willing to risk it. Bro, you did the right thing. I know you're doubting yourself. And I know people see you as the root of all evil for doing that. You did the right thing. I'll come back to that later. Either Dan and Alice's relationship would work out, and Sonia would get the idea of trying to do it to me, or they would get divorced, and Sonia would be there to support her best friend. In either case, I was the one who was going to lose. So I did the only thing that made sense to me. I broke up with her, and maybe she can find someone that is more in line with the way she thinks. For me, the risk of failure was too high, and I've already tried to be the understanding, supportive partner before. Yes, you learn from your mistakes. Now, is it possible Is it possible that maybe she would never want to do such a thing? Sure, anything's possible. But what are the odds? You do the odds, and they're pretty damn high. But by the way, gentlemen, there's one thing I left out that you're going to see at the end of this story, which now proves exactly he made the right choice. One little detail, which I know is coming pretty soon, that I left out and didn't reveal at the beginning, which will solidify his decision here. Sonia came to my apartment the following day to talk, and I explained my concerns. She just didn't understand and ended up cussing me out for wasting her time before she ran out of my apartment crying. There you go. Cussing you out. You mother effer! You son of a... I'm sure the neighbors love that. Since then, everyone, and he wrote everyone in gigantic capital letters, everyone in my life has given me their opinions about how stupid I am and how much of an a-hole I am and that Sonia deserves better than me and so on and so on. I don't know if she deserves better or worse than me, but she does deserve someone who's thinking more in line with her own. I will never accept that kind of nonsense in my life, either directly or indirectly. Bravo, brother. Good for you. And by the way, I'm willing to bet you everyone telling you their opinions, you didn't ask for their opinions. You didn't ask for their advice, but they're going to voluntarily give it to you anyway. But remember, gentlemen, and I'm sure many of you have dealt with this, the majority of people out there are unhappy. And so, misery loves company, and they want everybody else to be just like them. And the narrative is that guys have to give up everything to make their girl happy, and God forbid a man stands up for himself, makes demands, makes decisions, whatever. He's the bad guy. If the situation was reversed, and she broke up with him for her reasons, that would be that. But if a guy does it, he's the scum of the earth. Bro, do not listen to them. You made the right decision. And I would tell anybody that's still, because it's April now, you said this happened in January, and people are still giving you shit about this, I would either cut them off completely or say, look, because we've been friends for a long time, I'm letting that shit slide this one time. I don't want to hear a fucking word about your opinion. This is my business, not yours. I didn't ask for your advice. I didn't ask for your input. Shut the fuck up. And if there's one more peep about this, we're no longer friends, and I'm walking away. If you don't believe me, test me. Add a story. Because it's better that you have no friends or just a couple good ones that have your back to deal with this bullshit. It's your business. And I get it. And I guarantee you tens of thousands of dudes all over the world are watching this will get your reasons why. But remember, most people out there are in shitty relationships and misery loves company. On a positive note, Dan ended up watching a bunch of your videos, and he's decided to file for divorce. Hallelujah! Good for you, Dan. I know you're going to watch this. Good job, brother. You don't deserve this, Dan. You deserve something way better than this. She's a piece of garbage, okay? You want to be with a woman, if you're going to be with a woman, that would never even think about wanting to touch another guy or hand you over on a silver platter to a bunch of hoe bags nowadays. No way. You deserve better. Now listen to this. I guess he checked her phone after seeing someone suggest that in a video and found that she'd already been cheating on him months before she brought up the idea. There you go. What'd I say? Either cheating ahead of time and bringing it up to justify the cheating, or she's planning something else right there. And guess what, gentlemen? Who do you think knew about this the whole time? This guy's girlfriend, Sonia. Because I guarantee you there is no way that this dude's wife was cheating, hooking up with another dude, and she kept it all to herself. There is no way. I'm willing to bet all the money I have right now on all my accounts and all the money I will make to the day I die. That's a big wager that this girl knew. And you want to have a girlfriend that knew her friend was cheating on a good guy who hung out with regularly? Not a chance in hell. Of course, his decision is my fault as well, as all our friends and family basically blame me for ruining their marriage. How is it your fault that you ruined his marriage? Well, now I'm going to get heat. Someone's going to contact me and they're going to blame me for ruining the marriage. She ruined the marriage. It was Alice who ruined the marriage. She was cheating. And then the open relationship and all that. This was all her doing, not yours, not mine, and not Dan's. But the old joke about the gals and accountability. He says, influence, maybe, but to try and blame me because his wife was cheating on him is a bit of a stretch. You're damn right. So that's my story, SSM. It wasn't my girlfriend cheating or suggesting opening our relationship, but the closest influence in her life doing it. Did I overreact? Nobody else in my life seems to think that I made the right call. I would love to get an outside perspective on this. Well, initially, I was going to wait to the end to talk, but that's impossible for me. So I'll just back up what I said. No, you made the right decision. And I get you're having second thoughts because, you're human and you're with her and you said you had a good time. But remember your first marriage. You thought everything was great. And then look what happened as a result of her friends. And she obviously didn't love you. There's no way you're going to go through that a second time. And I've done stories over and over again about once the gal starts engaging into some mischief, it's only a matter of time before the other one does too. And even putting that aside, the fact that she has no problem with open relationships, open marriages, that is a fundamental difference between the two of you on certain values. It's not going to work. So it's better to cut ties, part ways, and move on. End of story. And if she thinks you're the root of all evil, and everybody you know says you're the root of all evil, fuck them. There is a point sometimes people will pretty much everybody in life, guys, are going to come and go out of your life. All right? It's just how it is. People you're friends with 5 years ago, you're likely not to be friends with now. Or people you're friends with right now, you're likely not to be friends with 5 years from now or 10 years ago or whatever. So don't waste your time hanging around people that aren't on your team, don't support you, give you shit and all that. And again, I'm sure all this advice you're getting, you didn't ask for. So no, you did the right thing. And one of two things are going to happen with her. Generally speaking, when women cannot take rejection, they lose their freaking mind over it. One of two things are going to happen. Either A, she's going to become obsessed with you because when a guy rejects a woman, she becomes obsessed with him and tries to get him back. So you may hear from her. Or B, hell hath no fury and she wants to ruin your life. Be prepared for both if it isn't already happening. And now that Dan's divorcing Alice, I guarantee you're getting the blame for that, so there can be more bullshit. So just be aware, be careful, make sure your car isn't egged or keyed or anything like that, or you get the point. Just be careful. But anyhow, bro, you made the right decision, and I'm sure it wasn't easy and all that, but the odds are very much that it was only a matter of time. And again, even if taking that out of the picture, the fact that she has no problem with this, that says a lot. And I'm willing to bet all the money I got and will ever make that she knew when that girl, before the Alice character had the open marriage conversation with Dan, I guarantee you she knew that Alice was cheating on him. Guaranteed, because they can't keep secrets. And all along when you're all hanging out and do double dates for dinner and bowling and movies, whatever you do, she knew. That says everything about her character. You do not want to be with someone like that. So you made the right call. So guys, we don't want him to make a mistake of going back with her, and we don't want him going through life thinking he made the wrong decision, thinking about the one that got away, that type of bullshit. So let him know in the comment section when you're done watching this video, he made the right choice. He needs to hear this. The more you guys say that, from your experience, wherever you are on this planet right now, he won't make a mistake. Because if you don't do that, and he goes back to her, you can only imagine how bad that's going to be. So, bro, great story. I appreciate you sending in. You're going to be okay. You made the right choice. Do not get back with her. And do not listen to those a-holes and cut them off and stick to the people that got your back. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.